Hello everybody, we are live for this very special Warhammer Preview Online Adepticon edition, and we are coming to you live from the Rock here at Games Workshop headquarters, and it is late in the middle of the night / morning.
Is this not Adepticon?
Well, we're in the UK, but Adepticon is happening live, and they've just had basically a preview not unlike this one, but with real people in the flesh right there.
That must be nice.
Quite.
It's been a couple of years since there's been an Adepticon.
Yes.
Were you at the last one?
I was not. I've actually never been to Adepticon. I've been to quite a few other big events around the world, but Adepticon has eluded me thus far.
Yeah, likewise.
Maybe next time.
There's a couple of our Warhammer community colleagues are out there at the moment, aren't they? The great Aidan Daly.
Yep, Aidan is out there. He's going to be judging Golden Demon, amongst other things.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Eddie Eccles, who did the preview. He's there helping Mike Brandt, head of events, to make sure that it all goes splendidly.
Yeah, but you've got us, I'm afraid. So I'm Wade. This is Adam. Hello. You're well met. Very welcome for this Warhammer Preview Online. Not from Adepticon, but picking up, following on from the great preview that's been held at Adepticon, and lots of exciting stuff to go through over the next hour or so. Do you reckon we've got another hour in us?
I reckon we are going till at least 3 a.m. in our time zone.
Yeah.
Your time zone may vary.
And as this is a Warhammer Preview Online, before we get round to one of your favourite introductions, I'm just checking in. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. First of all, thanks in advance to Raph. Raph's in the corner, wearing a very fetching Hawaiian shirt today.
She looks so bright and cheerful.
It really is. It's like making sure we're going to stay awake, because it's a different time for us to be doing this. And he'll be making sure everything is running very smoothly. Got some excellent images and videos to be sharing with you over the next hour or so. And thanks as well to Notley and our moderating crew, keeping everybody in line, making sure everyone has a fine time in the Twitch chat over the next hour or so. But, Adam, as we say, it's a Warhammer Preview Online. What do you like to do in these
Well,
sorts of
normally at this moment, the thing I like to do is thank everybody for being here, because it wouldn't be the same without you, and to ask you where in this wonderful world you are tuning in from. I suspect what I'm going to get is a bunch of letters that sort of connect to states in the United States of America. Type the full word if you want to help out this poor Englishman. And here we go. It's gone wild. I love it. We have got Australia, Wisconsin, that's somewhere in America. Mississippi is going so fast. I can't believe it. Raph, how many people do we have in the chat?
This is slow mode. Good times.
7,200 people telling us where they're from. It is amazing. Bradford, that's not far down the road. Bristol, I've been there a bunch of times. Salt Lake City, my sister lives near there. There are basically loads of you in loads of amazing places, and it is great to have this worldwide Warhammer community joining. A couple of you have mentioned that we could perhaps be a little louder. I'm not going to shout, but Raph's going to fiddle with the things. Wade's going to lean in extra close to his microphone, and we'll make sure you can hear us all. So what's going to happen over the next hour? Well, we're going to carry on with our introductions for a minute, and then what we have is a series of awesome previews, many of which come complete with a fancy video, and we're going to go through them all and then tell you the lowdown on all these awesome things.
Yeah, absolutely. So we missed you at the last Warhammer Preview Online, Adam. That's myself and Eddie at the one after the LVO time.
That's right.
We were presenting some excellent stuff, so I think we're going to be building on the excitement that was generated. That was our first Warhammer Preview Online of 2022. You were missed. You were greeting...
I was indeed. Just had a baby. Well, Mrs. Troke was in the throes of Troke 3.0, I suppose. So all went well. Mum and child are both great. But let's have a thank you, chat, for the congrats. His name is Dane, and he's like the Stay Puft Man already. It's amazing. So, enough on my latest miniature. Let's talk about the miniatures people are excited about. We've revealed some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Warhammer Underworlds, the Horus Heresy, and I feel there's one more, Blood Bowl.
Indeed.
What in the chat have you come to see? I would like to know. Oh, and as for who is more bold, me or Dane, we are roughly even. He's probably got more hair on his head.
After his father. Have you managed to get any hobby time in this?
Not a lot, but today. So, around the office, we have a colleague called Nick Baton. He's one of the presenters for Warhammer Battle Report. And he refers to March as March Former Crag and gets very Ultramarine oriented.
Yep.
But I know he's only managed to paint like 1 or 2 Ultramarine models, and now he's at Adepticon where he's not going to get a lot of time to paint more. So I think if I can just have a blitz and paint 5 Ultramarines before he gets back, that'd be quite funny. So I started building Heavy Intercessors today to out Ultramarine Nick and therefore claim the title of chapter master of the Ultramarines for a year. I think that's fair.
And you get the big hands. Give him a big hand. I think you're falling into his trap, though, because I think Nick goes
It's all a scheme, isn't it?
Yeah, getting people to paint Ultramarines so it doesn't feel too lonely in that regard.
Misha Ben-Toby came to see Wade.
Hey, how you doing? Good
Excellent
to see you.
news. We got people who are excited about Necromunda. Somebody's hoping for Ash Waste. 40k, says T-Money less. I saw some people getting excited about the Horus Heresy. Thank you, Realnir. Coming to see Adam. Realnir is my friend from California land. It's lovely to have you in the chat. What have we got? People are hoping for orcs. I think there's been a lot of orcs. You never know. Well, I know, but you don't yet. Price increased his volume. Yes. Wade is a softly spoken gentleman.
I am. I can certainly project, though. Raph was keen for me to move the microphone closer to my face in the first instance. Raph, I can do that. I've done that. Adam is a booming Stentorian individual, and he's much more used to these Warhammer Preview Online shenanigans. I've been used to live streaming from my bedroom for the last year or so in the lockdown times, but I can match Adam volume for volume. That's all good. We've got plenty to talk about, plenty to shout about. We're also pacing ourselves. We know what we've got in the hour or so ahead of us. Lots of exciting things. There's going to be a lot of whooping and hollering. It'd be great to be doing this preview, knowing what we've got coming up in front of a live studio audience, because we could feed off the enthusiasm. But I'm sure we'll see plenty of excitement in the Twitch
that's
chat.
actually an idea I like. Maybe we could arrange it one day. That'd be pretty neat.
One day,
Do it
yeah.
from inside Warhammer World. And
That'll be very cool.
have a room full of people.
We've got the space for it, I reckon, yeah.
Watch
Yeah,
this space. Somebody is digging your beard, Wade, by the way, which is always nice. So you asked me what hobby I've got up to lately. I've managed to build 1.5 heavy intercessors in the last month. What have you managed?
I've been finishing off a number of little projects that I'd started and not finished because I got distracted by other things. And I think when I was with Eddie doing the LVO preview, I said I was working on some objectives for my Orc army. That's been my latest project, just doing little 40k objective markers or little agenda tokens, things to represent particular objectives in games I'm playing. Hobby dollhousing, grimdark dollhousing is what Peachy calls it when we talk about stuff on Hangout and Hobby. So various little ammo crates and Orky uplinks and Orky teleport homes, all that sort of good stuff. Got the Tempest of War cards up for pre-order this weekend. I was going through those cards, having a look at all the various ways you can resolve match-to-play games, some cool little tokens. Just making weird stuff that I don't really need, but I just want. That's mostly it.
Very good. Right. Well, so we have a few minutes, just like 2.5 minutes left before we will punch our first video. The chat is saying that we've got some echo. I'm sure I'm not just saying everything twice.
No, it's a big empty room.
Well, you see, the corridors of the Rock are no doubt full of the the mournful, sorrowful screams of the unrepentant.
And watchers in the dark.
I assume they're quiet.
Yeah, I reckon so. That's why they're just watching. They're not chatters in the dark, not talkers in the dark.
Yes, the brother Captain Seros the Rock. I got to name this room a long time ago, and so there was only one option. Basically, we already had a Caliban around headquarters. All of the meeting rooms have got like cool names.
They do.
So whenever I can, I try and schedule meetings in Caliban. Yeah, good times. Right, here we go. So we're about 1.5 minutes out. Let me welcome you if you've just joined. There are thousands of you, and it is lovely to have you all with us. My name is Adam Troke. This is Wade Price. We are your hosts for this very exciting Warhammer Preview Online, where we will be covering a suite of awesome Warhammer-related things, and we are very, very glad to have you with us. I think it is probably time
Should we just get into it?
to get into
Should we just get into it? Raph, can you please run the first video for us, please?
Necromunda Ash Waste. That is very exciting, Wade.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was one of the things that was revealed or announced, teased, first hinted at the LVO Warhammer Preview Online a couple of months back. Now we've got the entire boxed set to go through, because it is a complete boxed set. We're going outside for the first time and getting to meet these guys. So I think on Monday, the beginning of this week, we saw the first Ash Waste Nomad from the Necromunda Ash Wastes box. So this is the first sighting of these new plastic Citadel miniatures, a brand new gang to go and play Necromunda with, who live outside. They've foregone all of the security and safety of Lord Helmor's kind ministrations within the hives of Necromunda, and they eke out an existence out in the irradiated wastes. And honestly, the Ash Wastes are pretty much every part of Necromunda that isn't within a hive, which is most of the planet. There's an awful lot of humans crammed into the hives. There's an awful lot of hives. There's an awful lot more Ash Wastes altogether. So this is exploring an aspect of Necromunda that we've known about for the best part of 30 odd years, but never really got the chance to explore, and certainly not to the degree of detail that we're going to see it now. So this is the biggest thing to happen to Necromunda since the new edition of the game that came out 5 years ago, I think it was.
I think that's fair to say, and certainly we've been excited about the Ash Wastes for a very long time. It's not an area that we particularly explored. There was some Ash Waste stuff in the distant past.
In like a Necromunda magazine for Fanatic, I think.
Yeah, and so it is very nice to see more, and perhaps an even less pleasant place to dwell than the hive itself. A bleak and unforgiving environment, and these are the Ash Waste Nomads themselves. Right. Oh, yep.
Yeah, they look absolutely superb.
Wade is now going to waft the box.
Stay at this. So an enormous box with beautiful artwork on the front. Brand new Ash Waste Nomad gang rocking around inside it. Plenty more to be seen as well. So, as we were just saying, this is the first time to get to see the Ash Wastes Nomad gang. We saw the first Nomad revealed on Warhammer Community at the start of this week. And we've heard about them before. They've been part of the lore of Necromunda, the game, the setting, for about 3 decades now. So we're now going to get to see the first brand new gang to a huge degree of detail.
Awesome. And these Ash Waste Nomads are by no means the only thing that you will find in Necromunda Ash Wastes. You also have the Dustback Helamites, who are ridden into battle. Think of them as like giant radioactive, almost fleas?
So they're described as macro insects.
Macro insects.
So macro meaning large, insect meaning insect. But yeah, they're just enormous irradiated bugs, because walking around millions upon millions of square kilometres of irradiated poisonous desert full of chemicals and heavy metal oxides that don't really go away anywhere, and terrible ash storms that get whipped up. The whole planet it's not quite a death world, it's not quite a forge world, but it's reasonably inimical to life altogether. So you can see even the Ash Waste Nomads who live out there, they've not like adapted to it. They've got rough and ready rebreather equipment, but they've kind of made a life with the critters, the fauna, not quite megafauna, but pretty big bugs altogether.
Awesome. And of course, they are not the only thing. We have more House Orlok, the best of all the houses. And here they are, the Orlok Outrider quads, which quite frankly look amazing. Look equally equipped to both ram you with great big spiky prows, or give you the good news with heavy bolter or explodey harpoon.
That's pretty much the state of it. If you saw bugs the size of those Dustback Helamites crawling around out in the irradiated ash wastes, you'd want to be able to shoot them and get away pretty quickly as well, I would say. So this is the edition of Necromunda that's going to introduce vehicular combat. So rules for moving around and fighting in vehicles very much like these, not exclusively these Outriders. Other vehicles will be available, but that's the sort of thing that you need to keep pace with those Dustback Helamites running around the place and to make a life for yourself out in the wastes. We know from existing Necromunda background, House Orlok runs the roads. They've got those road gangs. They work with the Guild of Coin, who are responsible for making sure everything moves around Necromunda the way it should. Necromunda thrives on trade. Hive Primus and all of its clan houses are reliant on goods coming in from other hives and other places around Necromunda to get off-world through the Eye of Selene, and then distributing food and stuff that comes in from off-world through the roads to the other hives. So The Orc Outriders are representative of the sorts of gangs who might venture out from the hives into the wilds for money. That's the only real reason you'd want to go out there, I think. And then the Ash Waste Nomads are the sorts of folk that have made a life for themselves out in the wastes for whatever reason that might be.
Now, I guess the real question is, where would you fight in these Ash Wastes? Does Raph have the answer?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Boom. Well, we have the box.
Yeah.
Has the awesome cover art, which Wade just held up.
Gorgeous.
But I think if we go on another slide, we're going to get... Here we go. So this is the laid out contents of the box. Obviously, you can't see the rules manual, but you're also going to get amazing terrain for you to play your games upon. And as you can see, it's going to be awesome. So you've got a mat to play on, which is the sort of grim, grey, irradiated wasteland that is the Ash Wastes outside of the Necromunda hives. And then these hab areas in which people can sort of shelter from the rad storms and scything wind.
Yeah, as near as you can. Better than the kind of dunes or crevasses that might open up. A little bit more protection. And you can see the suggestion, a little sort of a road in the Ash Wastes there that represent the sort of roadways that you might see the ambushes being fought over by the the Ash Waste Nomads and the Orlok Road gangs themselves. But the box is the complete game. It's not an expansion for Necromunda itself. So if you want to get into Necromunda here and now, well, when the box is out, then you get everything that you need to in there. And also beautiful scenery that would be perfectly at home on Warhammer 40,000 or Horus Heresy battlefields as well.
Yeah, you can see a lot of sort of alternative use for it. We were discussing beforehand, if you look at this big red hab building, it's got the sort of stowage hanging on the side. You can imagine the poor person who's sent out to collect, the extra tin of beans or whatever it is they have. Excuse me, can you fetch some more? And then fall to your doom 20 feet. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely stunning.
Obviously, as you'd expect from a game, you also have your rules manual, dice, cards, templates, and all the good stuff that you would hope to find to enable you to play your games of Necromunda. If you are already a fan of Necromunda, then this is an absolute motherlode of great miniatures and all the scenery you'll need. But this is also a brilliant jumping on point, it's fair to say. So whether you are new to Necromunda or just coming in with what you've already got, it's fantastic. And there was a question in the chat I saw, will other games be playable? You betcha they will. Watch this space.
More to be seen. And you can see from those yellow dice and that picture on the screen now, I've seen someone in the chat saying, interesting new dice. The black dice with the yellow designs are the existing Necromunda injury dice. The yellow ones are vehicle damage dice for the skirmish game that is Necromunda. So the same degree of detail that we're already accustomed to for infantry fighting in Necromunda being applied to vehicles and the interactions that they will have with infantry and macro insects and other delights to be found in the Ash Wastes. But you can see the size of that book. That's got a huge amount of background detail on the setting and mostly concentrating on the great equatorial wastes, which is immediately south of Hive Primus and that cluster, because again, the Ash Wastes is all of the planet that isn't the hives.
If you're not in one of the awful places to live, which are the hives, you're in the other awful place to live, which is everywhere else, the Ash Wastes.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Right. Well, that was a pretty fun way to start this one off. And as a absolute Orlok fanboy, I nearly wore my Orlok t-shirt tonight. I'm very excited for this one, and the team in the Warhammer studio who've been working on this have done a stellar job. The art in the book is amazing. The rules look really, really fun. The miniatures are great. I'm going to be well excited for this.
I think anyone who's been into Necromunda since like Confrontation days, I was looking over White Dwarf 130, which has some of the original Confrontation background, some of which still exists in the Necromunda rulebook and the background sections. A lot of that has been preserved, updated, represented, and contextualized in what we understand Necromunda to be now. So I think seeing that explored, going outside of the hives, can be really exciting for anyone interested in Necromunda.
And just once more for clarity, to answer a question somebody had, if you already play Necromunda and you have any of the existing gangs, they're going to be able to find a place within the Ash Waste as well. It's a new game, but all your existing Necromunda things will be able to be used. Fear not. Right, that was pretty cool, but I think it's probably time to play our next video.
Yes, please, Raph, take us there.
have the Exiled Dead, the latest warband revealed for Warhammer Underworld's Harrow Deep. Wade, what do you make of this?
So this is another full reveal of something that we've seen one of so far. So I think there's the Arc Walker. That's what those particular types of zombies are called in this warband. We saw the one with the big green hand, that is big green arm, that is definitely not his own, stitched onto the...
Borrowed.
Yeah, borrowed. Just a bit of an upgrade, just trying it out. That one is Coil, and we saw that revealed on Warhammer Community a couple of weeks ago. But this is the results of some mad experiments from Dauntelos, who is the leader of this warband. You can see in that fetching leather ensemble with a few extra hands, just a few spare hands, so he can give big hands to people who might need them.
Are they hands on his shoulders as well?
They look to be, yeah.
What a wronging.
Well, and he's not got a mouth. He's got a very peculiar sense of what he needs and what he needs more of and what he needs fewer of. But he is a necromantic vampire, soul-blight vampire, who has been exiled from Shaiish for his peculiar experiments, because we saw a reference to the particular sort of force, the force dynamic that he's been experimenting with. And it seems very much like maybe Nagash has taken a bit of an interest in the idea of making dead things move around.
Stop reanimating my dead stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. So he's been exiled, and he's trying to find fortune in Harrow Deep. So this is a very different take on what we've already seen from Deadwalker zombies that we saw in Warhammer Quest Cursed City last year, and now we've got a kind of mad scientists' experiments and what has happened to the animated dead. And you can see the not too subtle results of the arc stuff being hammered into them and the motive force being applied.
The chat is already lit up with "that would make a great," and then
Yes.
Dillac miniature,
Yep.
Gene Stiller cult
Yep.
miniature. You can really see the sort of kit bashers out there are going to have a lot of fun with the leader of this particular warband, aren't they?
Absolutely so, and maybe mixing in the Arc Walker zombies with other Deadwalker zombies to flavour particular Age of Sigmar collections. And I think just looking at the exploration of that particular style of soul-like vampire in the Mortal Realms, we've seen the Crimson Court for Warhammer Underworlds already, which had more of a classical old world vampire style, something maybe like a reimagined von Carstein family. And then we've seen the soul-like vampires, soul-like Gravelords Battle Tome, and the updates to some of those vampiric archetypes in the Mortal Realms, and seeing this kind of mad scientist experimenter, something along the lines of the Necrarch vampires of the world that was, but reimagined for the Mortal Realms with their accompanying assistants, is a great thing to see. It'd be fun to see more of that undead imagery from the world that was explored in the Mortal Realms, given the freedom to play around with the crazy science that exists in Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
I have it on good authority for those of you out there who play Underworlds and are looking for some idea of how these will fit into the game. They are an aggro warband with flex aspects. Read into that what you like, but apparently positioning with these is the key. Get them all into the right places and then play quite aggressively. Their main strength lies in Dauntelos' ability to control each of the Arcwalkers simultaneously, controlling the force dynamic together with his dance dynamic ability. So expect some opportunity to do sneaky moves and attacks as Dauntelos gets the most out of his reanimated minions. Sounds good to me. I think it's fair to say Underworlds continues to be served by just some of the most awesome stuff, and all of these warbands that appear in Underworlds, they also get data sheets, war scrolls is the correct word, war scrolls to use in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So I found them quite a nice way to add a little thing, and then I can tell myself at some point I'm going to use it in a bigger game.
Yeah, and they're a nice little painting project as well, nice little palette cleanser. I think quite a few people like just capturing little collections of forces they might not want to commit to even a full Warcry warband's worth of models for. But
it's how I staved off the urge to do an entire Fire Slayer army. I really find myself constantly on the edge of doing a Fire Slayer army, so I did the Fire Slayer warband one evening just to stave it off. And then contrast paints are really good for their hair, so who knows, maybe one day. Right, so we are about due our next reveal. Let's have a look at this.
Before the Emperor's light, our noble lords fought for the glory of mankind. On mighty iron steeds, they held back the darkness with fire and sword. And now those dark times have returned. heresy shrouds our Imperium. And so, our knights march to war once again. Ride forth, my lord. Ride forth into glory. And strike chaos from this realm.
Well, that was pretty cool. Sometimes watching the chat while the videos are going off is an absolute delight. Literally, at the moment, somebody said, "Oh, I wanted chaos," and then you see the switch in that video.
Yeah. Imperial Knights, Imperial Knights. Oh, lol. Yeah. Pretty grim altogether. Excellent video. And Raph was one of the chanting voices in the Ritual of Becoming scene that kicked things off earlier on. But yes, more excellent Chaos Knights being added to the panel, and this is the new Knight Abominant.
It looks so good. He's got carrion on its shoulders and massive tusks.
And kind of references some of the classic epic Chaos Titan miniatures with that big metallic set of tentacles mounted on the arm and the big lashing tail and the big Volkite carronade weapon mounted on the arm. And the thing's a Psyker. You've got a Psyker Chaos Knight, and it's absolutely riddled with chaos nastiness. So it's an upgrade frame for the existing Chaos Knight. You can see that distinctive back-jointed dog leg that the Chaos Knight kit has compared to the more noble and upright Imperial Knight, but absolutely festooned with gribbly nastiness.
Very good. I'm just going to address the sound for a moment. The chat seems relatively divided on whether the sound is great or the sound is terrible. From our end, the sound seems fine. So if we're having trouble and you're struggling to hear us, we can only apologise. However, we've done what we can right now. So maybe turn up your volume while we're on, and then maybe just nudge it down when we get to a video, and we'll keep monitoring it from our end. But as you can see, the chat is divided. Back to the Knight, as Wade has said, it's an absolute beast of a kit, and further supplements the forces available to the Chaos Knight armies. This, however, the Knight Abominant is not alone.
Oh no.
He says, and then watches Raph. Boom. We also have new war dogs to accompany the Chaos Knights on their rampages. This is the Carnivore.
The War Dog Carnivore with a K. Got to love that. And this is a obviously close combat tooled up war dog. So war dogs are the chaotic equivalent of armigers, the smaller men-at-arms to the Imperial Knights nobility. And this one tooled up for close combat, festooned with extra spikes, skull trophies, and proper stabby, gribbly bits. So you can change up some of the silhouettes of some of the forces in your existing Chaos Knights collections, those who've been collecting Fallen Households. Some people have got maybe kind of renegade knights, knights who have maybe renounced their vows, crossed out their heraldry. The Abominant, the War Dog Carnivore, some of the others are further along the spectrum of fully committed. They've lent into the fact that they've thrown in their lot with the dark gods of chaos, and they get spikes growing out of their shoulders as a consequence. What's not to love?
Exactly so. Right then. Of course, to accompany new models, you need a new book, and both Imperial Knight collectors and Chaos Knight collectors have a reason to rejoice, for 2 new codexes are on their way, one for the forces loyal to the Golden Throne and indeed Mars, and the other to the Dark Gods of Chaos.
Absolutely. So anyone who was excited by the prospect of Imperial Knights from the beginning of that video gets satisfaction from the sight of the upcoming Codex Imperial Knights as well as Codex Chaos Knights. Whatever kind of Space Marines you want to kick, there is a book for you with knights appropriately tooled up to do so. I love the shot of that. Looks like a Warlord Titan in the background of that Imperial Knights Codex as well.
I was going to give all due props to the Chaos Knight, who appears to be just giving a thoroughly good chainsawing to a Redemptor Dreadnought.
Yeah, I'd say he can, probably. Haven't seen much of the rules.
It's a sad end for Redemptor Dreadnought. I've seen a couple of them killed in bad ways lately.
Yeah.
The one got sort of absolutely breached by the Avatar in Hammer and Bolter. Was pretty good too.
So there will be an army set for the Chaos Knights. So the first place to get hold of the Codex and the Knight Abominant and the Wardog Carnivore is going to be the Chaos Knights army set. But all of the contents will be released separately after, as is the way with the army sets. You still working through your Black Templars army set?
Yes, so progress was somewhat delayed by the arrival of the boy, but yes, so I've built almost everything in it, and I'm quite looking forward to a full-on painting bonanza. I just need to beat Nick Baton on March from a Crag first, if I can.
Have you got any knights yourself? Any of
I do. I have 2 Imperial Knights in my collection, both free blades. Crucible of Wrath, who's been in White Dwarf many years ago in a battle report. So that's a Knight Paladin, and then I have a Knight Megara, which is like a Forge World upgrade kit with a, can't remember the name of the gun, big laser gun. It's massive. Thank you, a lightning cannon. Shouted in from the sidelines. I only use them both when I'm playing truly massive games. They come out and help out Strike Force Zephon.
Nicely.
Good to know.
Good times.
Somebody else in the chat has got a Knight Megara. Honestly, I think the head on that is one of the best things I've ever seen on Imperial Knights. So I get quite excited when Imperial Knights come along. One day, I think I would like an army of all 3 blades.
That'd be very cool.
You know, so a bit of the flying circus sort of idea. You know, everything's got its own colour scheme.
The muster of free blades or dread blades for the chaos persuasions, if you like that sort of thing. I need to get a Chaos Knight sorted out for my Khorne collection, but I've been working on orky things. I fear if I start building a knight, I'm just going to orcify it and make it a Blood Axe version instead. So the army box, someone's asking in the chat, has 1 Knight Abominant and 2 War Dogs and the Codex and a transfer sheet.
Cards as well.
Cards, yeah, data cards as well. So kind of standard army set offering. But more details will be made available. As with everything we're talking about today, keep your eyes on the Warhammer community website in the hours and days and weeks to come as we get closer to the releases of all of these things. Sometimes we're just announcing these things for the first time. I think the Imperial Knights Codex, that was the announcement of that. That was cool. Some of the things we're revealing more than have been seen or said before, but this isn't the place to say when they're coming out, because that's tempting fate, really, isn't it? It's a little distant still at this point in time.
Very good. Right. So, we've talked Imperial Knights. I can see Raph is getting ready to rack up for the next. He's given us the nod. We'll be back after this. We are back. That small break brought to you by the Adeptus Mechanicus of Mars, hopefully helping fix some of the audio issues that the chat is experiencing. Let me know if it has worked for you. Otherwise, of course, we just saw the reveal of the awesome Norse Blood Bowl team, and there's a lot to like here, Wade.
Yeah, it's a fantastic looking team. This is a fan favourite, I think, the Norse Blood Bowl team, the Norse CRPGs. And I remember back in the day, back in the old days, in the 90s, when the Norse team was essentially, it was a human team, and they all had armor 7, and they all had block, and there wasn't really too much about them. And they've evolved, they've grown, and they've got some fan favourites still. They've got the Valkyrie, they've got the Ulfrierna, they've got beer balls
so
now.
good.
Yeah, there's a bit of my brain that's already thinking Fenrisian, somebody failed the test of Mordecai and went native. There's an awful lot of conversion potential in these models, I think. But for Blood Bowl enthusiasts, Blood Bowl fans, a brand new team to start playing around with, and a new positional player in the Beer Boar who brings libations and refreshments to keep those players refreshed and in fine fighting fettle. Helmeted or unhelmeted? Do you prefer your beer boars helmeted or unhelmeted?
I'm definitely in unhelmeted beer boar territory, but any beer boar is a good beer boar for my money. Also, somebody in the chat said, what is the team name? The team name are the Norska Rampagers, and there is some awesome stuff here. I think you can see here is the Valkyrie, one of the special position players for the Norse team. Valkyries are notoriously useful on the pitch. They are fast, and in fact, they're fast, they're agile, and the sort of player that you can expect to do your sort of running, catching, throwing shenanigans while everybody else just crumps the enemy.
Yeah, they're superb. But this, big fan of this.
The Ulf Werner.
He's got his drinking horn just tucked into his belt to make sure he never goes without a drink for too long, and pointy, sharp nails on him. An absolute savage, as you might imagine, in a Stromash when he gets into
that
combat.
would be amazing for kit bashes.
So many, just so many kit bashes.
Oh, controversial hot take in the chat. Blood Bowl is the best Games Workshop game. Hard stop.
It's very good.
It is super good. It is to be agreed. And here we are, chat. We need to know, helmeted beer boar or unhelmeted beer boar? Where does it lie?
And it is worth noting, these are not like turn reroll counters, anything like that. These are positional players. I think they're 20,000 GP for your team. They're not going to hit the hardest, but they're going to be very useful. So I think when Blood Bowl fans see the roster, they'll be delighted to see what they offer. Anybody
arriving and just looking at the chat now would wonder what on earth was happening as people around the world shout helmet/no helmet into their text boxes. I think the helmet beer ball has it, but as we said before, every beer ball is a good beer ball. Whoa, saying that is quite tricky at this time of night, I'm not going to lie. So there we are. An absolutely delightful announcement, an upcoming team for Blood Bowl. The team down in the mines of the Warhammer studio keep cranking out amazing ones. The Khorne team is the last one that caught my eye. I have to confess that as a die-hard human or halfling player, I'm being lured by these extra teams.
Yeah, it's exciting to see the development of Blood Bowl teams into new territory. So yeah, all those new rules when the team becomes available, you'll be able to check those out in an accompanying Spike! Magazine to go with it as well. So, good times.
So we have toured through, we've been through the grim darkness of the 41st millennium with some Necromunda. We've visited the underworld, we've seen some Blood Bowl. It's probably time to go to the mortal realms for a minute.
This is the era of the beast. Thondir, the greatest of Gur's plains, has changed. The god of earthquakes walks the realm, and the very ground lashes out at those who dare settle it. Not all is lost. Dawnbringer crusades strike out farther with each passing day, bringing Sigmar's order to these untamed lands. Every step yields new and terrible dangers. Tremors shake the earth, and monsters tear down cities. Amidst it all, something stirs in the mountains of the Krond Spine. The Realm Stone is alive, warped by arcane power, and it stalks the mountains with primal fury. Gur has awoken, and it does not want us here.
So, Thondia in the realm of beasts. What's that all about, Wade?
So Thondia is a subcontinent in the Gurish heartlands. It's where a lot of activity has been taking place in Gur recently. Gur, the realm of beasts. We're in the era of the beast in the 3rd edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar right now, right at this moment in time. But Thondia is one of the more settled parts of Gur. Everything within Gur is trying to eat everything else, and that includes the landscape. That's one of the descriptions. But Thondia is a little bit more settled, a little bit more established, which allows the building of civilizations such as the great city of Excelsis, and also the establishment of Thondian strong points. So we're going to be seeing a bit more of an exploration of the realm of beasts, and particularly Thondia itself, and a look at establishing outposts in the realm of beasts, in the era of the beast. So this Thondian Strongpoint is a new scenery kit. I'm a big fan of this one.
Yeah, so this set includes a number of awesome terrain pieces for you to use in your game. Frankly, whenever I look at these things, all I can think of at first is how much better my cabinet is going to look as I put models on them. But here we have the Cleansing Aquilith, which I can give you a little bit of a lowdown on. It's a structure typically built within Sigmarite strongpoints, and a floating megalith provides safe drinking water, but also slowly cleanses the area around it of the evil magics and things that have seeped into the land.
Unless you were to paint that as blood.
Make it like a river of blood just emerging from... Yeah, very sinister. And then we have the Megadroth Remains.
This, I think, is going to work its way into quite a few collections and quite a few cabinet shelves, as you say. I know Raph was sizing it up and trying to work out, how could you get that into an Adeptus Titanicus battlefield? Maybe with the skulls of many giants littered around it.
Dremel away the skulls.
Yes.
And, you could, assume that you've been fighting over the corpse of some giant beast.
A pretty effective palisade.
For context, that is 12 inches long, give or take. So that's a sizable piece of terrain.
Absolutely.
And then perhaps the most interesting thing from a gameplay point of view, the Kronspine Incarnate of Gur. What's one of those, Wade?
So this is the kind of animated magic of Gur, here to let you know it's not very happy with you being here, actually. I think all of the excitement and the attention in the realm of beasts, the wakening up of Kragnos, the siege of Excelsis towards the end of the Broken Realm storyline, has angered Gur, and Gur has taken form in this incarnate form. So this is a kind of elemental type creature that can be used in any armies in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and this is indicative of the sort of exploration of Thondia that we're going to begin seeing in this Season of War book. And that is an absolutely huge creature. I'm sure people will be working that into all sorts of conversions and ideas as well. Stunning artwork behind it as well.
And of course, all this is tied together with a Season of War book. And that is Thondia. What can we expect in this, Wade?
So there's, as I say, more exploration of the realm. Thondia itself picking up in the aftermath of the Siege of Excelsis and all of the excitement kicking off in the Broken Realms. One of my favourite features of this is a new Anvil of Apotheosis, which we first saw in the General's Handbook, maybe the year before last, the last year of the 2nd edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which are rules for creating your own named unique characters. And they're kind of themed around Gur, but it's for absolutely every faction, every Grand Alliance can create characters to add to their army, and you can use them with your opponent's permission. You can use them as part of your Path to Glory armies, and there's extra Path to Glory rules in this Season of War book as well. And I think people have been seeing the Crusade expansions for Warhammer 40,000 and thinking, I'd really like to see some more of that in my Warhammer Age of Sigmar games. And that's what you're going to see more of in this Season of War book and future publications as well.
Yep. And here is an awesome shot of just how cool it can all look. I think one of the things that's very nice about this is if you've been enjoying sort of the continuing narrative of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the exploration of the Mortal Realms, this is a great opportunity to take your battles into a particular place and play some games that are going to have some resonance with you. And as you say, the Anvil of Apotheosis, for those of us who like getting into the character behind our sort of hero models and things, that could be really good fun.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Of course, it is not all Thondia, although it is a lot of Thondia, it is fair to say. This is Ulrak the Drowner, a new model approaching for the Nighthaunt army. What on earth is Ulrak the Drowner, Wade?
Well, in life, he was a drowner. So in death, he's named Ulrak the Drowner. This is the spirit of a ferryman who took money from people to transport them across waterways, as is the way of a ferryman, but he drowned them rather than did what he was paid to do. And Nagash admires that sort of enterprising spirit. See what I did there? But has cursed him to carry the souls of the damned around places that Nagash needs his Nighthaunt spirits taking. So we've already announced that Battletome Nighthaunt is on its way, whispered away on ethereal wings, and we see that the Arena of Shades battle box is going to be introducing the Craven Throne Guard and the Scriptum Mortis that's been talked about on Warhammer Community recently. This is another new Nighthaunt character that will feature in that Battletome Nighthaunt book when that comes out.
My favourite little feature, I was doing some digging into what this is all about. It says these spirits, talking about the sort of wisps swirling around the base, these spirits have not yet become Nighthaunt. All appear to be trying to clamber aboard his vessel, each with a single coin in their hands, as if trying to pay the ferryman. Better to be a Nighthaunt than to fade away into nothingness. And what must your fear of oblivion be that you're willing to become a Nighthaunt?
Yeah, you must have had, I don't know, one of Nagash's propagandists telling you what eternal servitude to old bones must be like, because I think if you'd read Battletome Nighthaunt, you wouldn't willingly sign up to become a Nighthaunt spirit, really, would you?
No, but like so much in life, it's you assume the grass is greener on the other side, and then suddenly you're in eternal servitude to the god of death.
Yeah.
And an eternity of misery and torment awaits. There's a lot to like about this model in terms of sort of the different elements, because on the one hand, it's like sort of super creepy, the spirits and things all swirling around it, but then you've got like the lovely roses blossoming, and the sort of vines swirling around this enormous paddle as he sort of leans sort of cadaverously over the forecastle of his little boat.
It's a very Nighthaunt feature, isn't it? Those briars and the flowers, the kind of morning wreaths, and you can see the lack of them on those spirits. As you say, those spirits who are yet to become cursed Nighthaunt geists don't have any evidence of that, but I'm sure once they get signed up, they'll get the dark green-black cowl and get properly instituted as Nighthaunt spirits so that they won't be mistaken. But yeah, gorgeous miniature, loads of stuff going on. It's great to see those different angles, to see all of the different ways of approaching it and attacking it as a painting project. I'm sure we'll see
I
that in the future.
stoically avoid doing sub-assemblies when I paint models, but I think even I would have to relent on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Superb. So plenty for Warhammer Age of Sigmar fans. The Season of War Thondia book for anyone interested in going and kicking some monsters around in the era of the beast, in the realm of beasts, and also the Thondian Strongpoint to establish outposts as part of your Path to Glory games and build on the scenery that was released alongside the third edition of the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Dominion box last summer. Whew, that was almost a year ago now. And then also more for the Nighthaunt, the upcoming Nighthaunt release with Ulrak the Drowner. It's pretty cool for Warhammer Age of Sigmar fans. Got loads of great stuff in there.
So, if you are just joining us, I've seen a few people arriving. So far, we have shown the Necromunda Ashwastes boxed game, which is looking extremely awesome with gigantic Helamites and new buggies and gangs and terrain, and it's looking sensational. We've seen things, a new warband for Warhammer Underworlds, a new Blood Bowl team for Blood Bowl. We've experienced Thondia firsthand, and a new miniature for Age of Sigmar. It's probably time to get to what might be the main event.
Yeah, there's something for the Horus Heresy, I think.
Right.
I never wanted this. I never wanted to unleash my legions. Together we banished the ignorance of old night. But you betrayed me. You betrayed us all. You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will! So let it be war. From the skies of terror to the galactic rim. Let the seas boil. Let the stars fall. though it takes the last drop of my blood. I will see the galaxy freed once more. And if I cannot save it from your failure, Father, then let the galaxy burn.
That was a bit good.
Yeah, it's very cool. We've seen that a few times, it's fair to say, but we still enjoy watching it every single time. I think we're going to watch it again before too long. Don't worry.
So, where do we begin? An incredible cinematic trailer for the Horus Heresy, showing some sense of the scale of carnage unleashed across the galaxy by Horus Lupercal.
Well, and I think, as the War Master pointed out, he didn't want to. It was the Emperor's fault.
Somebody in the chat summed that up nicely with, I never wanted to unleash my legions, so that was a lie. He seems to be enjoying himself. There's a lot of unanswered questions in that video.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, and there is a logo. There you go. Raph has changed what's on the screen, and I got excited. So, Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, upcoming this year, going to be awesome. It's a new Horus Heresy game. If you are familiar with the Horus Heresy as it exists now, then you will have some sense of it and its scale. And the team have been working extremely hard to make something awesome. And I think we'll have a little bit of a tease and a glimpse of what might be coming in that boxed game. So first of all, as the chat rightly surmised, Mark 6 Space Marines, the greatest of all the armour marks, in my humble opinion.
It's a fine armour mark.
It is glorious. So plastic Mark 6 Space Marines are going to be a thing. You've got to love the bayonets, the beaks, the everything.
The detail, the poses.
It's really great, isn't it?
It's absolutely stunning. So yeah, this is but one of a lot of exciting models. I think people in the chat still trying to work out, is this a video game? Is this a movie? What's going on here? This is the announcement of Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, the next step in the Horus Heresy miniatures game people might be familiar with. I think to differentiate it from the Horus Heresy, the Black Library novel series, which has the same name. So this is the miniatures game that a lot of people know and love, the classic mass battle game of Space Marines on Space Marines, or Titans, or Custodians, or the things that existed in the 31st millennium fighting the wars of the Horus Heresy. And this is the sort of thing that you can expect to see leading that fight.
And you also maybe got a clue of at least one of the other models that will appear inside that box game. An incredible Praetor with some really sort of unusual and ornate detailing on his armour. Looks fantastic.
Got those bonding studs on the left pauldron to face incoming enemy fire, and plenty of jewels about him, which you could put those little red slits on the pupils to represent the Eye of Horus, to show his allegiance as a son of Horus. But maybe he's not a traitor son of Horus, maybe he's a loyalist son of Horus. They did exist, and this is the sort of thing that you can collect and fight over in the Horus Heresy game.
Very good. I've seen the chat, various people screaming their allegiance to various legions as well. One presumes, Wade, you remain a staunch loyalist towards the World Eaters.
Loyalist is maybe not the right word.
Loyal to Angron,
yes,
I suppose. Is probably
yes, because the World Eaters are the best. Yes, that's still the case. I'm reliably assured that that is still a fact of the matter in the new edition. Yeah.
Well, that they're the best.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, we don't need to even debate it. The Emperor puts them in literally rank order. So, First Legion is the best Legion. Yes, a lot of people are asking, is this plastic? Yes, that Legion Praetor is plastic. Yes, the Mark 6 Space Marines are plastic. Yes, there will be a whole bunch of more plastic models, which no doubt in the lead up to the launch of this new boxed game for the Horus Heresy, you'll be seeing all sorts of things. I think the logical thing to do right now is just play the video again.
Yeah, please. Can we see it again, please, Raph?
Hold on.
I never wanted this. I never wanted to unleash my legions. Together we banished the ignorance of old night. But betrayed us all. You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will! So let it be war. From the skies of terror to the galactic rim. Let the seas boil. Let the stars fall. Though it takes the last drop of my blood, I will see the galaxy freed once more. And if I cannot save it from your failure, Father, then let the galaxy burn.
In answer to the question somebody asked in the chat, why show the video again? Because it's awesome and we wanted to watch it. And the Rock, the little studio where we're sat right now, was reverberating to discussions on which was the coolest bit. I'd be interested in your opinion on which was the coolest bit. For me, it's either the Son of Horus running down the slope with his bayonet blazing away, or it's the scene where you see the Legion just lined up in serried ranks, sort of all ready for sort of dispersal or deployment or whatever. But your mileage may vary. Quite a lot of people thinking that the Titan, the Imperial Titan, getting obliterated by the Lance blast was pretty cool.
Yep.
Orbital cannon, the best. Yeah.
I like the way the trailer itself seems like it's the trailer for a movie trilogy series, just like the number of snapshots of very different battle zones across the galaxy and different scales of warfare, all the way down to the realism, the verisimilitude of the recoil on the tanks firing on the move, the Titans stomping, the Titans destroying stuff, getting destroyed by the orbiting Lance strikes in return. Yeah, absolutely cataclysmic. Awesome stuff. I'm going to watch that a few more times.
So there have been a few questions about some of the nature of this. So if you are familiar as an existing Warhammer hobbyist of the Horus Heresy game right now, you collect armies very much like you would do for Warhammer 40,000 or Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And there are army lists for the Loyalist Legions, for the Traitor Legions, and then some of the other factions that exist. And when this new edition lands with a boxed game, you can expect much of the same, but new and updated with some incredible new miniatures that we have just started to tease. I'm afraid it is not within my gift to tell you the full scope and magnitude of what is within that box, other than say it's looking super rad.
Yeah, very much so. And existing fans of the Horus Heresy game will be very familiar with what they'll find in terms of the game engine itself, but refined, tweaked, and yeah, very exciting to play. We had some demo games recently, the Battle Report guys looking at playing some games on Warhammer Plus in the fullness of time, so lots to look forward to find out more about on warhammercommunity.com. That's
There we
our
are.
stuff.
Quite so. So I guess what remains for us is a brief recap. Thank you, first of all, for joining us. It has been a delight to spend an hour, even an hour that started at 2 in the morning in UK time, talking about some really exciting Warhammer stuff. We've really enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
We've seen Necromunda Ash Wastes, which is super exciting, particularly for this die-hard Orlok fan. We've seen a new warband for Warhammer Underworlds. We've seen Imperial and Chaos Knights for Warhammer 40,000. We've also seen, Thondia and the new scenery kit for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the Blood Bowl team, the Norska Rampagers. Absolutely fantastic. What else have we got? I feel like
The internet's best kept secret, the new Horus Heresy game.
Yes, exactly. A shock to all.
that coming.
And what might be, in my opinion, the best cinematic sort of announced trailer for a box game that Games Workshop have done so far.
So far, yeah.
Really good.
Should we leave the lovely people with just one other thing now?
Yes, I think we shall. But before we get to that, Thank you very much to Notley for moderating the chat and for spending his time making sure it all worked. For Raf for doing the tech behind the scenes and fixing the sound when all hope was lost. Thank you to Wade for being an excellent co-host. But most importantly, thank you to all of you from wherever you are in the world for joining us, spending some time and having some fun. We'll leave you with the answer to some of your prayers.